So for this video I had an idea to address that this, I guess, burning dilemma or conflict of misunderstood positions from men and women, because it seems like today men and women differ in their opinions about how the world should function and how, maybe even more, the direct contact, like relationships and interactions, should look like between men and women more than before, at least from my life. And that's the reoccurring topic I keep hearing from the circle of my people, so I thought maybe I should talk about it. And I guess what I would want to focus is on more specifically men, because for me it seems like, it's really hard to say whoever is more around in this situation, but for me it seems more reasonable to put more blame on men. Of course, because I feel more comfortable and I have more validity as being as a man to say something about men than women. But the core idea about this is that men in general, we don't really have what would you say, this choice like women do to impose onto women. In certain ways, yes, but in relatively to women, hardly. Like, we are the ones who are supposed to, if you want to find a woman and build a relationship and build a family, build some sort of a functioning life together, we have to learn on how to understand them, and then how to be basically good creatures to them. And you could say that it sort of is alike for women towards men as well, but I would say it's not in the same degree. Because, let's just say it like this, to keep it short on this part, that women have way more risk in engaging in any sort of activity with other people. Will it be women or men? With men, even more risk. So they're more vulnerable, they're weaker physically, and even more on the topic of the vulnerabilities, if we're talking about children, of pregnancies, all of these things, they're the most vulnerable. And actually, if you're talking about from a biological sense of things, it's really probable that that's why they are so, I guess someone could call them strict, but nowadays I think more men for whom this video would be relevant to would call them unreasonable or unfair or with too high of a standards. And I can understand that in a certain way, women can be, harsh and unfair in certain sense, but it's not really, it's the more you think about their position, and even if you try to actually understand their position nowadays, and nowadays meaning what I want to highlight here is, like, imagine how much of a atrocious information on social media everyone is being exposed, and women in particular. How, imagine the algorithms just prioritize, well, of course they prioritize all the emotionally charged topics for everyone, so it's good and bad, but imagine the bad parts. Women seeing men who are cheating, who are abusing, who are, abuse scales a lot, as you know. You could verbally abuse, you could physically abuse, you could there's a lot of horrible things that men can do. And just imagine when now women are being just, throttled, that kind of just negative aspects of the whole world. How do they feel? Well, they become more vigilant than they would, and they are even more, harsh in their standards, and it's, I would say it's fair play, because maybe it's, you could say in some senses that's unreasonable, because not all men are like that, and actually most of men are not like that, but people don't care about the norm. They care about the things that can basically end them. So yeah, so what I want to say, the main problem I keep hearing is that women are really on edge about men, and about how they are, and basically about everything. And if it's connected to men, it's even more. And men are basically just reacting to this as if they're unreasonable, because they don't see anything in the examples women are giving that represent them. So they're thinking either that they are just unreasonable, they're talking about, about reality in ways that is unreasonable by their view, because most of men are not like that. But missing the fact that women who can differentiate such things, they either go through a lot of years of this to eventually learn how they can see what men are good and what are not, or they find a good man, make the relationship work, and then through that relationship they find out how it actually looks, and there is no other way. So for you maybe it seems like it's all simple, although that actually might not be the case, because what do you actually even know about yourself? Maybe you think right now that you're all good, all innocent, you deem no harm to anyone, but you don't know what you can be after you're pushed. So that's actually bring us to the core thing I want to say about this, address to men, is that you have to build yourself. And when I'm saying build, I'm not meaning in the right now trendy way of the hustle culture and being a business and becoming really successful, being really ambitious and having a lot of finances and resources, all of those things. Not that. Building yourself, I mean your character. Learning how to discern right from wrong. Knowing yourself. Getting to know women. Getting to know the things that are important to them. So we've touched a bit on that, but basically, all in all, after that, the idea is that you have to be someone who exhibits traits which show women that you are reliable, responsible, able to protect them, and of course, not far away from anyone who would, act aggressive towards them. And the problem is that I can't even really, I can't really, give specific things of how that looks, for you to understand how you have to act. Because you cannot think that you are not harmful and able to protect them, and then try to conjure up a pattern of behavior which would show that. That would be just, you're just emulating something. That such things come from when you either have a direct contact with, you could say evil, you could say someone bad, you could say a horrible situation, and then learning what happened there and learning what was good and what was wrong, and then building piece of information to wisdom like that, or actually speaking with other people, speaking with someone wise, maybe your parents, maybe with your grandparents, maybe someone who you trust and you think that they know. So gather this information, gather how are you supposed to be essentially what it means to be good, but there is no really straightforward answer to it, because it's like, what's a moral decision? There is no rule you can derive which would just tell you in any circumstance what's the moral decision. You have to have experience. You have to have certain, you could say you can have certain virtues you orientate yourself by, which can put you on a better path. But in a specific situation, what's the right decision it will depend on how good can you actually evaluate the situation and analyze it and come up with a conclusion of what you're supposed to do. And all that lies in your experience and in your competence and understanding what's good and what's not good. So it's work, but I guess the accent I want to leave is that try to understand, in general you could use this, try to understand other people, especially the people you have a negative, I guess, reaction to. because there's something about them that you do not know why you're reacting negative towards them. And also that there could be something that you don't know about yourself, which is just manifesting in your interaction with that person. So you could learn that. But I was trying to put this with, with women, try to understand what are they afraid of, what are they angry about. Because yes, that can be frustrating and infuriating, but you could, I guess you could look at it as a game, They're rage baiting you, and the one who will be able to not get rage baited and bring relief to the woman who is in chaos, which a part of it is rage baiting others. If you will be able to go over that and bring some clarity for her and relieve her, that, in my estimation, would be one of the bigger signs that you're something. You're not yet there, but you're quite something, and you would stand out of other people. At least that was my experience, with my wife and with most of women I had interactions with. It's quite rare that you find a woman who is actually, in my experience, it never happened. It was just instances where I had an interaction with a woman who seemed really rational, really that interaction seemed real, like I have my interaction with the friends I have, which are male, which seems just really rational, really straightforward, nothing, what would you say, nothing mischievous, I call this, it's as if they're always playing some kind of game you have to crack, but the more you get good at this, the easier it becomes, and just realize that's just a part of the dynamic between you and your partner eventually. So yes, that would be the case. Just try to understand them and try to be the one who will help them. Trying to understand them will, if you're angry, if you're feeling resentful towards them, or have some sort of these feelings, understanding them, and actually any person you would feel about like this would take care of, I would say, a really big, if not all of that piece of anger towards them, just understanding their position. And after once you understand, you can try to focus on what can you do to help them. So